Welcome back to the program. It's been a good part of some of our lives for more than a decade, but HBO's Game of Thrones finished last night after 8 series and 73 episodes. Not wanting to give away anything for those of you who've not seen it yet, but how the long-running fantasy has changed television viewing in general. Well, Nick Hilton is the TV critic for the independent newspaper in the UK and joins me now from London. Well, thank you for joining us here on the programme. Game of Thrones definitely changed the amount of money devoted to TV series. Has it had any other influence on TV shows and how they're written?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's changed the stakes in terms of what is invested. I mean, TV is still, a relatively modest medium. We're talking $15 million an episode for this final season of Game of Thrones, which is nothing compared to, the Marvel universe and all of that. So it's still kind of some way behind cinema in terms of the financial investment, but suddenly it was a property that really felt like it was a blockbuster in a way that even the greatest of HBO's previous shows hadn't managed to kind of transfer that across cultural barriers.
Okay. So what do you think, it is that they did differently, and why did they do that in such a way to, create such an impact on TV?
Well, they have this property in the books, the George R.R. Martin books, A Song of Ice and Fire, that some people consider to be unfilmable because they were so vast and they had all this kind of socio-political commentary running alongside this sort of high fantasy dragons and zombies and things. And it just felt like there was no medium which could invest the time and the money that was required to make a Game of Thrones a success. And then, HBO made a commitment to creating a show that is, 73 episodes. It's however truncated these final series have felt and however rushed the ending might have felt for some fans, they've created and invested a huge amount of time and energy and money into this project. And I think that's, it was just a case of leaping with a project like this in the same way that Peter Jackson did with Lord of the Rings when that seemed like an impossible novel to adapt for the screen. They've done the same thing for the first kind of televisual sword and sandals blockbuster.
Okay. Were you surprised that, it seems to me that, this is the one series perhaps over the last decade where, come the day after, people are talking about it around the coffee machine?
Yeah, it's been an amazing sort of water cooler experience. I mean, it's funny for me as a Brit, I get up in the middle of the night, I watch it at 2 a.m. So I have such a different experience of what Game of Thrones is. And I think people in this country generally do. In the US, it's a Sunday night activity. People go to bars and watch it with friends. And here, you get sad acts like me who watch it at 2 a.m. with their dog. And then you get people, the average person who watches it on a Monday night, having, spent the whole day avoiding spoilers. I mean, it's just been a kind of phenomenon of social media and of communications and also of as you say, gathering around a cup of coffee at work the next day to hypothesize and theorize. And I think that the way that the conversation has moved outside of the television space is part of why over the last 2 years the final series has fermented so much, and that's why so many people feel disappointed.
Nick Hilton, I'm afraid that's all we have time for, but thank you for not giving away any spoilers and for joining me here on Euronews Now.